Good morning, everyone. Today's lesson is about poetry analysis. So we'll try to approach analyzing a poem the same way you would think of a doctor diagnosing a patient. That is, we have tried to bring this metaphor in order to see whether it is easily mapped onto the domain of poetry analysis. So in medicine, there is a standard procedure for diagnosing an illness. That is, when you diagnose a patient, there's a special strategy that you should follow in order to detect what that illness is. The same way happens for analyzing a poem. So although some trial and error may come into play, the steps are usually going to be the same each time. The same is, in a way, true of analyzing poetry. There are just different things and conditions to look for. So let's start by talking about the different steps that we should follow in order to analyze a poem. How about this order? As a first step, we'll start with defining who the speaker is. That is, the voice relaying the poem to the reader, sort of like a narrator in a book, if you like. So this might be the poet himself, but at times it's not the poet himself. At times you'll find another voice narrating a story. I don't know, sometimes it's just a paper telling you a story. Sometimes the poet opts for, I don't know, a tennis shoe, if you like, complaining about how much use it gets. So these are different voices that you might encounter while analyzing a poem. So this actually is the funny part about voice. That is, you won't find the same person speaking to you, telling you his story. Sometimes you just find a part of that person telling you a story which you do not even know. Okay, so this is it. So we'll try to figure out who the speaker is each time we read a poem, okay? As a second step, we'll try to determine the situation in the poem. How is that done? Okay, situation, what does the word imply, if you like? Some situations are easy, like Ballad of Birmingham, if you like, since it tells you after the title that it was written on the occasion of the bombing of the church. This applies for people who know stories about those bombing of the church. Other people will not really know what the Ballad of Birmingham is about, and that is why we will say that the situation, or determining the situation, is sometimes vague and not easy. So, but other times you will find situations which are really clear-cut and you won't find any difficulty while trying to determine them. So it's just the task of the poet, or the reader this time, that is, who is supposed, of course, to have more powerful insights and more, inferential processes at work inside, his mind, of course, while trying to determine the situation. Now, for the third element, we have to try to determine the setting. Now, what is meant by setting? Setting implies two elements, that is, the place and time of writing that poem. We have the historical time period, season, period in someone's life, if you like, and the place, that is, whether that poem is written indoors or outdoors, or in any other geographical location which we do not know, or whether it exists only in the speaker's imagination. This is what setting actually means. But we have other settings which are sometimes abstract, more abstract, and they happen just in the mind of the speaker. That is the voice. That is the voice that tells you that poem is really quite different from the setting which you might be thinking of. Okay. As a fourth process, we have, at any time during the process, look up words you may not know, especially words which have more than just one meaning. So each time we'll be needing dictionaries different types of dictionaries, electronic dictionaries if you like. You can use your own dictionary, okay, in order to look up those words, not to get some sort of confusion while trying to analyze a poem. This is it. This is how you shouldn't miss the most important points in an analysis in order to be more convincing and more persuasive, if you like, while giving your own deductions or your own inferences from that poem in particular. As a fifth step, we'll try to determine the purpose of the poem. What is the purpose of a poem? The purpose of a poem is why that poem was written in particular. Behind every poem, there is a purpose that the poet wants to convey. So sometimes the poet is angry, other times he is happy, at times he is just telling you a story. So you will try to know what the purpose of the poem is. So I think these are the most important points that we will deal with while analyzing a poem. Thank you for following.